Bill the Butcher cutting, Ned Stark, and Alpha. What could possibly go wrong? Today we are reviewing Anemone 22. Still works. We have Sir Daniel Day-Lewis, we have Sir Sean Bean, and we have Lady Samantha Morton with the directorial debut of Ronan Day-Lewis, basing the movie off the screenplay that he and his daddy Danny wrote. This should be a masterclass in what a movie should be, right? First of all, to start off, I need to apologize about the tardiness of this review. I usually try to do a review the weekend that a movie comes out or a couple of days later. If you were a subscriber, you would know that. If you're not, please do me a favor and think about subscribing. Hit that little button. It helps the channel out. But it was taking me a long time, and I was debating on even doing a review for this movie, and I'll let you know why. All right, I'm going to give you some of the pluses of this movie because there were quite a few. If you're a movie snob, I think you're really going to love it. It's an artsy movie. I kept track, other than a short monologue, a prayer by Sean Bean. Don't worry, I'm not going to ruin anything. This channel is spoiler free. I'm not going to ruin anything for you, give you any leaks or anything. But other than a quick prayer by Sean Bean, just an opening monologue, a few seconds long, and other than a dialogue, which was more or less a monologue because he was talking to someone unresponsive, there were no words in the first 15 minutes of this movie. Nothing. And the only words that were uttered 15 minutes later were two by Daniel Day-Lewis himself. After that, there was another 4 minutes of silence before Sean Bean said something, and again, Daniel Day-Lewis, 2 words. That's it. 19 minutes, there was more or less nothing said in this movie, but it worked so well. Daniel Day-Lewis, I consider him one of the greatest actors of all time. I don't say that lightly. Sean Bean, another one, maybe not up to par with Sir Daniel Day-Lewis, but again, in his own right, he is a behemoth, and I love everything that he does, even though he dies a lot, even though he's been in quite a few B movies. I love everything that Sean Bean's in, even TV series, he's fantastic in. They had a conversation with no words whatsoever. The movements, the mannerisms, the facial expressions, everything painted a picture for you, and you knew exactly what was going on without anything said. Now, another great thespian in this... Yeah, I said the right word. Another great thespian in this movie is Samantha Morton. She did a fantastic job. Unfortunately, she didn't have a lot to do, but what she did have to work with, she owned. Every scene she was in, she was fantastic. She stood out. She will always be Alpha to me. Doesn't matter how many other movies that she was in. She was fantastic in The Whale. She was great in Minority Report. But she will always be Alpha because I am a zombie fanatic. There's also Samuel Bottomley. I don't know much about him. I guess he's been in TV shows and stuff, which, don't get me wrong, fine actor. But he is up against Daniel Day-Lewis and Sean Bean and Samantha Morton. What is he going to do? He just doesn't have the experience, but kudos to him. There's another Safia Oakley Green, that small bit role. She still did fine. She did fantastic. Everybody, even the extras, they did what they were supposed to do. All in all, the acting was phenomenal in this movie. If you're a snob, you're going to love it. Even if you're not a snob, you may be taken away from the storyline and the screenplay, but you still have to give respect to the acting. Moving on to the cinematography, it was beautiful, breathtaking, phenomenal, fantastic. I cannot think of enough words. I didn't bring my thesaurus with me, but it was fantastic. I mean, I loved it. It blended so perfectly with the acting. The musical accompaniment was subtle. It was great from the wide shots to the close up, timed perfectly. The panning, the camera angles, the movement, everything was great. I really can't say anything bad about the cinematography. I couldn't take my eyes off the screen. Last thing positive I will say about this movie before we head on to the cons, because I'm not a shill. I don't get paid by people, although I wouldn't mind being a shill or getting paid by people, but either way, the soundtrack, it was good. It was fine. I don't even really remember. I remember maybe one scene where there was music, because I remember the scene and there should be music, because it would just be weird if there wasn't music. But either which way, it was subtle. It wasn't overly subdued. It wasn't overwhelming. It didn't punch you in the face. It was blended well. It was right where it needed to be. It emphasized, because it brought me some emotions watching this movie. It put me into the movie. So all in all, I would say that the composer did a good job. Okay, I lied. One more thing, just one more positive thing, but it's a segue. It'll be a segue into the not so positive things that took me out of the movie. Ronan Day Lewis, especially for his directorial, for the first time he directed, he did a phenomenal job. When it comes to the directing part, it was fantastic. You could see the influence that his father, a very, very great actor, had on him. His film school that he went to, I don't know if he went to film school. Either which way, the man did a fantastic job, all in all, with the movie. Now, the negative things, starting with the screenplay. Even though it was Daniel Day-Lewis we're talking about here, and he co-wrote the screenplay with his son Ronan Day-Lewis, you could tell some inexperience from the son, and you could tell overly artsy with the dad, and the two didn't blend well. It had mixed reviews from all of the critics because of the screenplay. Everybody was in consensus. It was unanimous about the acting and the cinematography. Breathtaking, blew you away. The screenplay is where it muddied everything up. By the way, quick little question. Is that the dude from Harry Potter? Does everybody know who I'm talking about? That dude is kind of like had the weird is that the guy? If it is, do me a favor, drop comments below and let me know if that's the guy, because I'm not sure, but he looks a whole lot like the guy, the kid from Harry Potter. All right. 3 big cons that I had with this movie, and here is number 1, and it starts with that one right there, the trailer. It was so mysterious. It had nothing to say about anything. It was enigmatic, and that's what hooked me and got me to want to see this movie. I have a very big problem when it comes to enigmatic movies. I paint a picture in my head. I think I know what the movie is going to be about, and when I go in, I'm excited. I'm anticipating seeing the movie that I created, and it's something completely different, and I'm left disappointed and wanting. Maybe I should fix that and start making my own movies. Go back a couple of movie reviews and see. Good boy, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But yes, I was upset when I left this movie. I thought I was looking for more of a suspense, thriller, almost horror, since it's released around the holiday season. And what I got was 100% pure art house drama. Con number 2 was the acting. I know you're going to say, but I thought you just said a few moments ago the acting was phenomenal. It is. Hear me out. Give me a chance. I wish they would have given Sean Bean and Samantha Morton something more to do. I wish the characters had more meat to them. They did great with what they had, but they didn't have much. For the little bit that they gave them, the little bit of the connection that they gave, little bit of the character's background, And what makes the character, they related. They brought it out. You could tell what kind of person it is. But the dialogue was weak and they didn't have a whole lot to do. Now, when it comes to Sir Daniel Day-Lewis, one, I thought being retired for 7 years after the Phantom Thread in 2017, 2016, math is hard. But either which way, I thought maybe either one, he would come into more of a general audience movie unless it was a favor to his son and a dream of his to create his screenplay, or two, he would have gone over the top with a character that he could really, really, really relate to. A lot of the scenes, a lot of the dialogue, a lot of the backstory that he gives, he seems like he had a difficult time relating to it. Either which way, he did a fantastic job. He made a great performance, but there were a couple of things, especially talking about things that he did in his past, where it seems like he was hammy, almost over the top, because he was detached from the character and he had a hard time relating. All in all, I think maybe if the script was a little bit better, then the movie would have been a little bit better. Now, number 3, and the worst for me, was the screenplay itself. And there is so much bad about this that I broke it up so I don't lose my train of thought. The very first thing, I felt betrayed about this movie. In the trailer, I'm not giving anything away. You can see some drawings from children. You get pretty quick that it's about the IRA and the things that were happening with that all through the 70s and the 80s. That's when I grew up, so it was a very big role. Now, that is what introduced me to Daniel Day-Lewis in the beginning, was In the Name of the Father, The Boxer, movies that had to deal with the IRA. So I thought it was going to play a bigger role in this. Now, saying that, this entire storyline, this entire screenplay, the reason for this movie and the story that it's telling is because of one event that happened during the IRA and the military occupation and what happened specifically to Daniel Day-Lewis's character. Saying that, you get the explanation at the very end. It's a fairly quick explanation. You don't know what's going on. And even though that event paints the entire thing, it plays a very minimal role in this movie. Second part of what makes this screenplay so bad, and I guess I should title this video, Why Was the Screenplay So Bad? The second part were the characters itself and the script writing. I know the actors did a fantastic job, but it was the characters of the screenplay itself that they came up with it. Mr. Day-Lewis, Sir Lewis Day, Sir Lewis, I don't know what you call him, but either which way, coming back, 7-year hiatus. Words are hard. Either which way, coming back from a 7-year pause after the Phantom Thread, after There Will Be Blood, after all of these pivotal roles, the man played Lincoln. I think this role was almost too much as an everyman that had catastrophic things happen to him. He had bad things happen in his childhood, which is kind of where we start off. And then he had bad things happen in his teen years, early adulthood, military time. And the one good thing that happens to him, he runs from because of all of the bad things that happened. And then he just gives up on society and life as a whole. And I think Daniel Day-Lewis had a hard time relating to that character. That's why in a couple of his monologues, not a whole lot, but in a couple, he was kind of over the top. He was kind of hammy. It took me out. I don't think he should have spent as much time telling the story of the backstory. I think it would have been a lot better. When it comes to the supporting cast, the supporting characters itself, I think they were so weak. They were so minimal, even though they were very, very important in this film. They just kind of said, this person is this, This person is that. Do what you will with it. And even though Sean Bean, Samantha Morton did the best they possibly could, did a fantastic job, they explained to us who this character was, what their motivation is, and what kind of person they are. Same with Samantha Morton's character. They did that. They succeeded. It was phenomenal, but they didn't have much to work with. It was just minuscule. I think if they would have brought Daniel Day-Lewis's main character down, and they would have brought Sean Bean and Samantha Morton's character up to try to match their level, I think it would have made a much better movie. Now, the last thing I'll say about this movie before I move on to the rating, I promise, I know this video is longer than most, if not all of my videos, but I'm trying to explain why I didn't even really want to do a review of this movie in the first place. Cut me a break. Either which way, the entire storyline was weak. It was flaccid. It was terrible. We knew that a current event happened, and it was in the back of everyone's mind. It's the reason why Sean Bean did what he did, and I can't really explain it because the trailer gives us so little. The wiki page gives us so little. If I explain what Sean Bean did, or where he went, or why he went there, or what was going on, it's going to be a spoiler, so I can't even really say much about it. But the current event about what's going on and what has everybody so worried and so concerned to where they introduced Daniel Day-Lewis's character, it's not talked about very much. It's just kind of a foreboding. It's artsy. You have to think about it. They spent more time on what was going on in the past, about the turmoil that Daniel Day-Lewis had, even though he acts one way, he presents himself one way, he says one thing, his dreams show another thing, where they kind of hate each other, but they kind of love each other, where they're explaining things that go on, why they explained why Daniel Day-Lewis did what he did in the first place, because Sean Bean, who's a very close character, didn't have any idea why he just took off. He just took off. You know, and they haven't seen each other in 20 years. They didn't say anything to each other in the first 19 minutes of the movie, more or less. It was just weak all around. I think it would have been better if they either had a lot more dialogue and they focused more on current events instead of trying to paint a picture of the past, or if they had no dialogue whatsoever and they just let three titans of the film industry talk to each other without talking at all. Either which way, this is what brings up the criticism. The screenplay is what did bad. This is what's divisive. Is the screenplay worth the actors that starred in the movie? Is the screenplay worth the cinematography? Or did the screenplay fall short, and Ronan Day-Lewis and his dad, Daniel, would have done better if they hired a professional screenwriter? Now on to my rating of Anemone. I said it right this time, haha. And real quick shout out up here. I know that you're seeing a whole lot of the follows and the subscribes to Kino Check. I have no affiliation with them whatsoever, but it's where I go to check out all of my trailers to see what I want to see and see if it's worth it, and to do any clips of any trailers. So you guys give them a follow. You know, it's not like they need my help. They do phenomenal by themselves, but I want to give a quick shout out because they're doing all of the hard work. And now for the rating, like I promised. Is it worth the price of admission? Wait for it to stream or save your data. That really all depends on who you are. If you are a movie snob and you like thinking about movies without really being told about movies, and you love the art and you love the craft and you love the beauty, then you will love this movie, and it's worth you going in to see because you can talk about it with your snobby friends while you're swishing around a glass of wine and sniffing into it. But if you're like the rest of us and you like being entertained and you can appreciate the beauty in the cinematography, you can appreciate dialogue, you can appreciate the characters, you can appreciate the dedication to the craft that the actors show, it's not really for you. Maybe on a rainy day, Maybe when you don't want to have to really pay attention to a movie, you might wait for it to stream. But I'd say if you're more fast and furious than you are anything else, save your data. And that is my review for 2025's Anemone. Guys, I hope you enjoyed it. I knew it was going to be a long one. I told you I didn't even really know if I wanted to make this because I had so much to say about it and it was torn so many ways. And I made that and I like it. I'm going to keep it. I don't know why, but either which way, I digress. If you want to watch the movie, okay, it'll give you something to talk about. If you don't want to watch the movie, as I didn't watch The Phantom Thread, I don't think you're going to miss anything, and life is not going to be missing anything. If you like reviews like this, do me a favor. If you made it all the way to the end, give me a subscribe, a thumbs up, a share. It helps the channel. I appreciate it. If you have a movie that you would like to see me review, you can drop it in the comments down below. I always read them. I always respond. If you would rather go over to my Discord, you can leave me a little message and I'll put it in the queue for you. And until next time, I hope you have a great day. Anemone. They really should have named this Anemone. It would have had more to do with the movie than a stupid freaking flower did.